So let's talk about points to discuss and to pay attention to as we head toward the USFL championship game. First one is, can you cook us a turnover with extra butter? I'm talking margarine. I'm talking turnover margin. Come on, stay woke with me. Look, the turnover margin, I think, is going to be tremendous in this game because it has been everywhere else. Matter of fact, in the game in which New Orleans Breakers took an L to the Birmingham Stallions in the South Divisional Final, Coach Fedora was straight up and down about it. He said, look, man, we played a great football game. Point is, they had 2 turnovers and we did not. You know, they got them. They took the ball away from us and we weren't able to take the ball back from them. And that was the difference in the game. I mean, Victor Bolden took one back all the way to, forget, 6, 7, right? But you also had Kyle Sloter, who threw the ball away once again and had more interceptions than TDs this season, even as he was all USFL as a quarterback. I think that the team that wins the turnover margin has the best chance to win this game. They both have dynamic special teams, which I'm going to get to here in a second. But also, I thought it was interesting that we're talking about these teams that are great at takeaways in different ways, right? So Channing Stribling has, I believe, 7 interceptions this year, and if he's ready to go, you're probably not going to want to throw near him all day if you're J.M.R. Smith. On the other side, you also have Scooby Wright, DeMarcus Gates, JoJo Tillery, who can take the ball away from you by just knocking it out and going to scoop it up. We saw that with DeMarcus Gates against New Orleans Breakers. He picked the ball up off the floor. I say off the floor. It's an interception technically, but the way he caught that ball looked like he's falling down and then rumbled to the end zone. So the next part, yes, has got to be the special teams. I think as a point number 2, like, you can't overlook it because it mattered in those 2 games to decide who's playing for the championship. I thought it was fascinating that we're talking about just 1 punt return for touchdown in this league through the regular season. And then we had 2 in one game and 1 return in the next game. So we had 3 special team TDs in this game. And I always thought that the kicking game was going to be the one that decides it. We had kickers that could make them from 61. We had kickers that missed chip shots. It just seemed to affect everybody. But if you're going to punt the ball to Maurice Alexander, good luck. If you're going to punt the ball to Victor Bolden, good luck. Either one of those guys can take it back. Also add to this, the only guy that returned a punt return for a touchdown in the regular season also was the league's MVP. That was Kavontae Turpin, who took one back against the Stars and looked like New Jersey was going to get the rematch against Birmingham to start the season in the championship game. And then Hard Time said, no, it's my time. Not Turpin time, but Hard Time in winning time. Okay. Can you cook us a championship, or does owing Skip Holtz a championship matter more for J.M.R. Smith? As a matter of fact, one of the things that I've been fascinated to watch is how J.M.R. Smith interacts with Coach Holtz, right? It is a father-son dynamic. He's able to talk to him like a son, be hard on him, and he receives it like a dad. At the post game, following their win, Coach Holtz is up there next to Victor Bolden on his left and J.M.R. Smith on his right. And J.M.R. Smith is choking up, trying to hold back tears as he hears his coach talk about what this win meant to him, what it means for him to have this sort of success in his first year as a professional football coach. And for J.M.R. Smith, who said, I'm just overwhelmed with gratitude for Coach Holtz, and I owe him a championship. J.M.R. Smith was my pick to be MVP of this league because I don't think that Birmingham is in this position if not for him. And like Cookus, we're talking about 2 quarterbacks that did not start the season as a starter. They weren't even the first picks for their teams, and yet they are the guys as they get ready to try to win this thing in the shadow of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. J.M.R. has found ways to just go get it, whether it's with his legs or completing passes down the field. He finds a way to get in the end zone. He's got some tools around him, right? We know we got Bo Scarborough in the backfield with CJ Marable. You know, you have Marlon Williams on one side, Victor Bolden on the other. You know, you're going to have opportunities to take advantage of a defense that's been doggone stout. You know, I think perhaps New Orleans Breakers might have some truck with me on this, but the Stallions might have the best linebacking core in the entire league. As a matter of fact, the linebackers in this league are all pretty doggone stout. I mean, all the way down to the Houston Gamblers and the Pittsburgh Maulers. I could point to guys all over this league that could play. Kayava Tizino, Donald Payne, Reggie Northrup, and those are guys that were toward the bottom, right? Frank Ginda, at Michigan. We can keep going here. I think that between Scooby Wright, DeMarcus Gates, JoJo Tillery, who's kind of a hybrid box safety / linebacker, you have some outstanding defenders on that team. I also think that it's going to be interesting to see if Cookus can deliver the ball to his playmakers, right? Matt Colburn has meant a lot to the Philadelphia Stars here in the last 5 weeks. As a matter of fact, they went from having one of the worst rush offenses in the league to having one of the better tailbacks in the league in Colburn. He had to leave the game against the Generals with an injury. So did Channing Stribling. So did Case Cookus for a little bit. So those guys getting healthy this week is going to be pivotal to them having a great outing on Sunday. But again, if you can get the ball out to guys like Bug Howard, Jordan Sewell, Maurice Alexander, goodness me, DeAndre Overton, they'll have an opportunity to go and score points. And if you can outscore the Birmingham Stallions, you got a good chance of beating them. They want to run the ball. They want to play defense, right? As much as Skip Holtz wants to throw the ball around and is the first person to tell you, I want to throw the ball around, he's also the guy that in the second half will just look at Bo Scarborough and says, okay, putting the saddle on your back, biggin. We're going to ride you all the way out. And that's what they did to beat the New Orleans Breakers. They were able to eat up clock. They responded to a 17-play drive that took about 9 minutes off the clock from New Orleans, where they got 3, with their own 15-play drive that took about 8 minutes off the clock, where they got 6 and ended up making a margin of victory larger than it needed to be, as Skip Holtz got to win a divisional final, Pro Football Hall of Fame stadium, with his father, Lou, on hand. It's a very big deal because Lou Holtz had not been able to travel to Birmingham all year to see his son coach professional football. With some help and some friends, they were able to get him to Canton, and he got to see his son lead the Stallions to this championship game. Really phenomenal stuff. I was privileged to be there for it. Also add in there, again, leading rushers for the Stars, Matt Colburn is averaging 4.6 yards per carry. He's got 8 TDs. CJ Marable's averaging 3.8, but again, Bo Scarborough has helped them quite a bit. He's got 5 TDs. The kitchen sink and who blinks, right? That's a point for me, right? It's about which one of these play callers, because both Skip Holtz and Bart Andrus are calling the plays, are going to pull out the kitchen sink or throw the kitchen sink and pull out some sort of double pass, which we've only seen once in this league, but these two are more likely to have some fun with the rules. As a matter of fact, Bart Andrus is the first coach to call a 3-point conversion and succeed, right? You'll remember against the Pittsburgh Maulers, they stretched a 4-point lead into a 7-point lead in the fourth quarter. Brian Scott was able to find Matt Colburn from 10 yards out for 3 points. We've also seen a couple of teams go for it on 4th and 12 instead of an onside kick. That can come into play. I was asking the president of football operations, Brian Woods, if the overtime rules change now that we are in the playoffs and championship game. And he said no. He checked with the head of rules official, Mike Pereira, who said, no, we're going to have a best of 3 shootout if it goes to overtime in the championship. And wouldn't that be something? Also, if you're going to go to Canton, Ohio to watch the game, and you should, you really should, you're also going to get to see the USFL exhibit, right, for this league, where Brian Scott's jersey and Kyle Sloter's jersey are on display, as Brian Scott again threw that 3-point conversion, and Kyle Sloter ran in for the game-winning 2-point conversion in the first ever best of 3 overtime, which they were able to win against Jeff Fisher's Michigan Panthers. Phenomenal stuff there. I thought that from the jump, this league is for football fans, first and foremost, but also for players that just want to get closer to their dream. You know, the Hall of Fame is a place where we enshrine the best of us. Gold jackets and bronze busts. That's what it's for, right? Every now and again, you get the odd memento, the odd jersey. Super Bowl rings are on display. There's an exhibit over there where you can make your own Super Bowl ring. The Black College Football Hall of Fame exhibit is phenomenal. You need to see it. I'm also in there looking at a big statue of Jim Thorpe where it just says the legend, because everybody understands. Also, you know, I get to see that at home because I'm from Oklahoma. You know, I'm just saying, like, I get to see that at home. But I also thought it was really cool to know that these men that just want to achieve their dream have an opportunity to do that in the shadow of the place that is responsible for remembering the greats of the game. I'm walking back to my car, right? As I'm leaving the stadium, it's after midnight, and I'm behind a family who had just seen a New Orleans Breaker, who I don't need to name, just lose, right? And they're dealing with that, and they're dealing with the fallout of that. And I hear a man who I believe is player's uncle say, hey, I'm just hopeful that he gets back to the NFL on this, get some good film. And he was asked why. It's like, well, he's 6 games from being vested, 6 games from his pension, 6 games from retiring. That's the dream right now for some of these players. It's not about, for them, just trying to get to the NFL and play. Some of this is their occupation. This is their vocation. This is what they have been doing since they were children. And I'm privileged to see those guys going all out for it in Birmingham, all the way out here to Canton, for the opportunity just to play a little bit longer, to be a professional. And then to get that, do that on Fox, in front of family and friends, but also national broadcast games for 10 weeks straight. And then another 2 weeks if you're the Philadelphia Stars and the Birmingham Stallions. It's great stuff. Now, lastly, the thing that I'm going to be watching for is playmakers. I mentioned a few of them already. But what's Jordan Moore going to do? He's their leading tackler with 65. What is Matt Colburn going to do? You need him to run the ball well to open up the pass game. What is Bo Scarborough going to do? He's gone off a couple of times, but this would be a great game for him to show up and show some of that Alabama resiliency and that Alabama need to win championships for the Stallions to do what they had been doing for most of the year. Remember, this team was undefeated up until second to last week of the season, right? They had wanted to win every game, and Skip Holtz said in the post-game press conference following the divisional final, we wanted to win every game. So I had asked him, how are you going to keep these guys focused in this week leading up to the game? So I don't think I'm going to have a problem with that. I had a problem the last 2 weeks because I'm trying to convince them that being undefeated matters and winning every game matters. But we got through that and we're here now. I think everybody's going to be focused on winning football games, not as if we're here to do something else. I thought that was great. But that's also peak Skip Holtz, who has been outstanding from the jump. And I'm very excited to see he or Bart Andrus raising that trophy. Now, last, I'm not going to make a prediction. I am going to say I thought the Philadelphia Stars could be here. They were my dark horse to win it all from the jump. A lot of other people did not see it that way, but I thought the way that Bart Andrus knows how to coach in alternative leagues, particularly spring leagues, his experience in the World Football League, experience in the CFL, the staff he put together, quiet as it's kept. He's got a former head coach at Boston College, and he's got a former special teams coach for the Denver Broncos on the staff that people just don't acknowledge, right? They were the team that in training camp looked superb. They looked polished. They knew what they were doing. A lot of that had to do with the understanding between Andrus and Scott, which has apparently become an understanding between Andrus and Cookus. So seeing all that come into fruition and seeing those guys able to get here now in July, playing football that matters, I'm excited about that. So we will be on hand July 3rd at Pro Football Hall of Fame Stadium to react live on the field to what occurs, right? Whether the Stars or the Stallions win, how they win. We're probably going to talk to a coach or perhaps, or a player. We never know, right? I'm excited about it because, frankly, I've been working really hard along with the staff of this show to get to this point. And I'm privileged to be in a position to continue to tell these stories, to hear these stories, to have these men open up to me in ways that make them vulnerable and are laying it all out. And I hope you'll join us for that across the social channels, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We will have you covered with live reaction on the #1 ranked show accounts to the USFL championship game. Good luck once again to the Birmingham Stallions and the Philadelphia Stars. Both of them are worthy of winning this championship. Thanks for watching this video. And remember, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any other videos on the #1 ranked show YouTube channel.